Welcome to another lesson on Scratch. In this lesson, we will learn how to create shapes and patterns using move and turn block and another important concept of programming known as the loops. So in the last lesson, you have learned how to draw different shapes using the coordinate systems, and specifically you have used the block called as the go-to block and then the glide block to draw different shapes. But in this lesson, I'm not going to use these blocks. Instead, I'm going to make use of the block called as the move block. But first, let me reduce the size of this sprite. So instead of 100, I'm going to reduce the size to 50 so that it becomes half of the original size. And then what I can do is if I click on this move 10 steps, so this sprite is going to move forward by 10 steps. So if you want this sprite to move at large speed or large steps, then you can use move 100 steps. It's going to move forward by 100 steps. And then if you want to reduce it, for example, let's say I'm going to move by one step, so it's going to move exactly by 1 pixel forward in the direction it is facing. If this sprite is facing towards the right hand side, if I click on this move forward direction, it's going to move forward in that direction by exactly 1 step. But in this case, I'm going to move forward by 200 steps. So if I keep it here and then click on move 200 steps, it's going to move forward by exactly 200 steps. But if you're going to create a drawing, of course, you have to make use of the block called as the pen block. So therefore, I'm going to click on this add extension button. So from here, I'm going to use pen block. So if I put this pen down option or pen down block right on the top, and then if I move this sprite backward, and then if I click here once again, it's going to create a line here. And then if you want a shorter line, you can say 100 steps instead of just 200, so it's going to create a shorter line. So therefore, that's how you can create a drawing using the move block. But in this case, let's say we're going to create a square. So let's change this one back to 200 steps, and then when I click here, it's going to create one side of a square. So right after reaching here, my sprite has to move up, but this move block will not move up if you do not change the direction of this sprite. So this sprite is going to move in the direction that it is facing, so which means I have to change the direction of this sprite. In this case, I can either move down or I can move up. So therefore, what I can do is I can make use of the motion block called as the turn block. In this case, I have two turn blocks. The first one is for rotating in clockwise direction, and then second one is for rotating in anti-clockwise direction. So you can rotate this cat either clockwise or the anti-clockwise direction to create a square. But in this case, I'm going to move up, so therefore I'm going to turn in anti-clockwise direction. So therefore, in order to create a square, you have to obviously turn by 90 degrees. So when I click on this block, it's going to turn upward now. So after turning that side, I can make use of this again, move 200 steps. Simply I will duplicate it here, and then if I click here once again, it's going to create the next side of a square. So therefore, what I can do is I can duplicate this block, and then if I click here, it's going to create another side of a square, and then similarly if I click here once again, it's going to create another side of a square. So that's how you can make use of this move and turn block to create a square. So similarly, again, if I want to run this program again, if you look at here, our sprite is turning this side. So when I run this program, it's going to go downward. Let's see what happens when I click on this pen down option again. So it's going to first I'm going to erase everything, and then if I click here once again, so it's going to create square, something like this. So therefore, first thing I need to do is I have to change the direction. So what you can do is you can change the direction this sprite is facing. Currently it's facing negative 90 degree. What you can do is you can change back to 90 degree here. Now the sprite is facing towards the right side. When I erase this one and then again click on this block or the program here, it's going to create a square. So that's how you can create a square using move and turn block. While creating a shapes in Scratch using move and turn block, it is very important to understand the angle at which you are going to turn to create that particular shape. For example, if you're creating a square, you know that the angle that you're going to turn is exactly going to be 90 degree, because this angle is 90 degree, this angle is also 90 degree, and this angle and that angle is also 90 degree. But let's say you're going to draw a triangle here like this. So in this case, at what angle should you turn in order to create a triangle? So in that case, we are going to keep note of this exterior angle instead of the interior angle. So here we're not going to turn by this angle. Instead, we are going to make use of this exterior angle. So in mathematics, if you want to create, or if you want to find the exterior angle, it is the formula is equal to 360 divided by n. So the n is the number of sides. In this case, n is equal to 3 because the triangle has 3 sides. So 360 divided by 3 is equal to exactly 120 degree. So which means this exterior angle will be 120 degree, and then if you want to create a triangle, then you have to turn by 120 degree. So this exact formula also can be applied to other shapes. For example, if you want to draw this polygon, in this case it's going to be a hexagon. So in this case, the number of sides is going to be 6. 360 divided by 6 is equal to 60 degrees. So if you turn the angle by 60 degree, you're going to exactly get the regular polygon, which is a hexagon. So this is how you can use this formula in order to create a regular polygon in Scratch. So coming to the Scratch, let's try and create a polygon using move and turn block. So for that, I will not use these blocks, so I'll just remove it by dragging and dropping it here. Then I will just erase everything that is there on the screen, and then I'm going to make use of this pen block, and then I'm going to move forward by 200 steps. So when I click on this block, it's going to create a first side of a triangle. Since there are 3 sides in a triangle, 360 divided by 3 is equal to 120 degree. So therefore 120 degree, if I turn anti-clockwise by 120 degree, so it's going to turn that side by 120 degree anti-clockwise. So right after reaching here, so what I can do is I can duplicate these 2 blocks, and then I can click here, and then it's going to create another side of a triangle. And then finally, if I duplicate it once again and then click here, it's going to create the third side of a triangle. So that's how you can create a equilateral triangles, which means there are, or this triangle has exactly equal sides. But if you want to create different triangle which has different sides, you can also do that by changing the degrees, and then you can also change the steps as well. But here I'm just creating a triangle with equal sides. So therefore, once again, if I keep it somewhere here and then click on these blocks, it's going to create a triangle like this. So that's how you can create a simple triangle in Scratch. Now coming back to creating a square in Scratch, if you look at the number of blocks in the program, you can see that there are lots and lots of blocks to just create a simple square. So if you look closely, you will notice that this move 200 steps and turn 90 degree is repeating 4 times. So instead of repeating these blocks again and again, we can make use of another important programming concept called as the loops. So in the first lesson, you have learned about the loop called as the forever loop. This forever loop runs everything that is inside this block forever or infinite times. So here I'm not going to run this infinite times because I just want to draw a square. I do not want to keep on drawing square forever time. So therefore, instead of forever, I'm going to make use of another loop called as the repeat loop. So here I can duplicate the last 2 blocks. So here I'm going to repeat these 2 blocks of how many times? 4 times, because it's exactly going to create a squares. That these 2 blocks will create one side of a square, and then when I repeat it 4 times, it's going to create 4 sides of a square. So that's how we can make use of this loop. So let me put these things again. So first pen down, and then again erase all. And then if you look at our code, you will notice that this scratch or this sprite is turning that way, it's upside down. So therefore what I can do is I can make, or I can change the direction here by specifying 90 degree. But if you do not want to do it manually every time when you run the program, you can make use of another important block called as point in direction 90 degree. So this particular block will change the direction of this particular sprite to 90 degree every time you run the program. So therefore I'm going to put this on the top, and then now when I run this program, is going to exactly create the same thing like what we have done here. And then if you look at the number of lines of code, of course I've used this one extra, but still if you look at the code, see the number of lines of code has significantly reduced. If you take an example of drawing a hexagon, you will have to repeat these two blocks 6 times, because in hexagon there are 6 sides. So which means we have to include these two blocks twice again. So it's going to be too lengthy. So therefore what you can do is you can make use of this repeat block. Instead of 4, if you want to draw a hexagon, you can use 6 here, and then you can change the degree to 60 degree in order to create a hexagon. In this case, let's try and create a hexagon. So what you can do is I can remove these things now, then I can use the same blocks of code to create a polygon. So this time, instead of 4 times, I'm going to repeat 6 times, because polygon has 6 sides. So I will remove this one, reduce the steps to 100 steps, because I don't want to go beyond the boundary. So I will reduce to 100 steps. And then degree is going to be very important, like we have discussed. 360 divided by number of sides, which is 6, is going to be 60 degrees. So when I click here once again, then it's going to create a regular polygon, which is a hexagon this time. So that's how you can create different shapes using move and turn block, and by using important concept called as loops. Of course we can create this hexagon without using this repeat block, but you have to repeat these 2 steps 6 times. So while doing that way, it's going to fill up the whole script area, and our program becomes too lengthy. So therefore it is very important to reduce the number of codes and then make your program as short as possible. So now the next shape that we are going to discuss here is we are going to create a circle this time. So I will keep everything same. Instead I will just remove these 2 and then repeat. I'm going to keep it here, and then let's say in order to create a circle, first I'm going to move by exactly 1 step. You're going to move forward by 1 step, and then after moving by 1 step, I'm going to turn by 1 degree. So let's say I'm going to turn by 1 degree. So if I combine these 2 together and then I put it inside the repeat block, so when I click on this green flag, it's going to move a little bit. If you look at here, it's moving somewhere. Of course it's not so visible, but because I'm repeating just 6 times. So what you can do is, if you want to create a perfect circle, the repeat value and the turn value when multiplied should give exactly 360. So 1 times 360 is equal to 360. So therefore the repeat has to be 360. That's how it works. So when I run this program now, it's going to create a circle. So that's how you can create a circle in Scratch. But if you want to create a bigger circle, you can change the steps. You can create 2, 1.5, 1.7. It doesn't matter if you give the step as 2. So it's going to create a bigger circle this time. So that's how you can create different shape, or how you can create circle in this particular case. So there are different ways, of course. Instead of these 2 steps, if you want to, for example, let's say instead of this 4 degree, 1 degree, if you want to change to 4, so I can do it 4 degree, and then 4 times how much is equal to 360 is going to be 90 degree. So if you run this program once again, it's going to create a circle this time as well. So that's how you can create a circle using different values. So similarly, if I change to 9 degree, this has to be exactly 40. So if I run this program, it's going to exactly create the same thing. Is going to create a circle, but if you want to create a bigger circle, so this you can change to, let's say, 10 and see how it works. So it's going to create a circle. But if you want to create a perfect circle, then I would suggest you to use this 360 and then turn by 1 degree in order to create a perfect circle in Scratch. Of course, because of these 10 steps going beyond the boundary, I can always stop it, and then instead I will just say I'm going to move by 1 steps. So if I bring this one down and then if I click here, then it's going to create a circle in Scratch. So let's try and create a circular pattern like this. So if you look at this pattern is made up of circles. So therefore, the first step is we're going to draw one circle. So therefore, we have already learned how to draw a circle. You just need to move by 1 step, and then you're going to turn by 1 degree, and that I'm going to repeat it 360 times. So when I join these things here, and then if I click this one on green flag once again, it's going to draw one circle. So right after drawing one circle, this is going to draw one circle, and then after drawing one circle, I'm going to turn either clockwise or anti-clockwise by certain degree. So in this case, I'm going to turn towards the clockwise direction by 15. Let's change 15 to 20. Let's say I'm going to turn by 20 degree. So after turning 20 degree, then I'm going to repeat this drawing another circle. So therefore, these things I will again enclose it within the loop. So therefore, I'm going to use another loop here. So that type of loop, when I use a loop within another loop, it is called as the nested loop, which is also very important in programming. So here, since I'm turning by 20 degree, so repeat value has to be 20 times 18 equals to 360. So therefore, I'm going to change this one to 360. Therefore, if I put it here and then if I keep it somewhere here and then run it again, so it's going to create first one circle. So after drawing one circle, it's going to turn by certain degree, in this case turning by 20 degree clockwise, and then it's going to continue drawing the next circle. So if you want to execute this code faster, you can always make use of this feature. Click on this edit, and then you will see turn on turbo mode. So if I turn on this turbo mode, it's going to run faster. And then you have successfully created a circular pattern like I have shown before. But if you want to create a circular pattern like this, but if you want this circles to be little closer to each other, what you can do is instead of 20 degree, you can say 10 degree, and then 10 times 36 will be 360. So therefore, if I run this one once again, now the circles are much closer to each other. And then you can always change the value depending on what kind of patterns you want. So in this case, I will keep it here. But let's try to make this one a little bit beautiful by applying colors. So therefore, in order to apply color, you have to click on the pen block. And then here under the pen block, you will notice that there is a block called change pen color by 10. So this is what I'm going to make use of. So here, right after drawing one circle, so this blocks will create one circle. And then after creating one circle, I'm going to change the color, which means I'm going to apply different color for different circles. So therefore, I will put this one right below it, but within the outside loop. So if I click on this one once again, it's going to apply colors. So this is how you can apply colors to this particular pattern. So thank you.